Prego.
Buongiorno Mr. Clooney, sono qui? Hi. Io credo che nessun attore oggi nel mondo potesse interpretare questo film meglio di lei. Detto questo, le voglio chiedere due cose. Io mi chiamo Adriana Terzo e Boris e stasera cinema. La prima cosa che voglio chiederle è se le è mai capitato, forse agli inizi della sua carriera, non lo so, di stare dall'altra parte, di pensare che qualche cosa non stesse girando per il verso giusto, che magari c'era qualche problema diciamo, nel corso della sua carriera, mentre stava lavorando, che poteva trovarsi in difficoltà. La seconda cosa che voglio chiedergli è, nonostante la drammaticità della situazione di perdere un posto di lavoro che molti di noi conoscono e probabilmente leggiamo e vediamo, ma è possibile che ci sia veramente una chance di poter essere liberi dalla dipendenza stressante dal lavoro e comunque poter riconquistare anche sentimenti e valori nella vita cosiddetta normale? Grazie.
Okay, we have time for one more question. I suppose what you're asking first is, have I been fired before? Certainly, and long before I was an actor, I had jobs as a, I cut tobacco for a living, and I sold insurance door to door, and I sold men's suits and sold ladies' shoes, and I've been fired from a good many jobs over a period of time, so I have some understanding of it. I also didn't have a family to support, so I didn't have the same sort of pressures that other people have. I'm not quite sure what the rest of the question was. I think it may be a translation issue, because I sort of understood what you were saying. What was the last part? I don't know. It's been a while since I've been fired. I think, I'm not quite sure what there is. I'm not quite sure how to answer that, since it's not an issue that I deal with specifically. How would you answer it?
I've never been fired, so...
You've never been fired?
I've fired people, but I've never been fired. I'm really good at what I do, George.
Wow. You've never been fired?
I've literally never been fired.
Not a single job, ever?
No.
I hate it.
How can I possibly understand?
C'è una domanda lì, prego.
Buongiorno Mr. Clooney. Volevo chiederle questo, secondo me il tema importante di questa commedia, ciò che la rende veramente significativa, è un argomento serio ed è quello dell'importanza dei rapporti umani. Nessuno di noi può vivere da solo, tutti abbiamo bisogno di un copilota. Due domande e sono queste. Intanto se lei nella sua vita dorata, quella che vive oggi da star di Hollywood, ma se a lei capita ogni tanto di sentirsi solo. E la seconda domanda per il regista, se la rinuncia ad un lieto fine, il che è abbastanza insolito, ripeto, la domanda per il regista, grazie, la rinuncia ad un lieto fine, il che è abbastanza insolito per una commedia, ne rafforza il significato appunto serio, sia pure espresso in forma umoristica. Ecco, vorrei sapere se avete fin dall'inizio deciso di far sì che il protagonista rimanesse solo fra le nuvole, o se avete avuto in qualche momento della scrittura l'idea di consentire anche a lui di uscire dalla propria solitudine. Grazie.
One for you first. Okay, fair enough. I knew what the ending of Up in the Air was going to be from the very start. I knew that I wanted to make a movie where the main character came to an epiphany about companionship through loss rather than romance. That rather than have a movie where the main character and the audience feel an overwhelming need for something else because they experience love, their desire to connect with another human being comes through overwhelming loss, and that not only would the character feel this, but the audience would feel this as well. At the end of the movie, I don't know where the character is going. Frankly, I don't think it matters. I think I would be just as happy if 50% of the audience thought the character was going back on the road. to find love, and 50% of the audience thought he was going back on the road to live cyclically the same way for the rest of his life. The importance is actually the epiphany.
And for me, it was a question about do I have bad moments in my life? Just here. Do I? Loneliness. I actually have a pretty great life. I have great friends and people that I'm very close to, and great family. So not really. I kind of, I don't. The character and I have they're very different in that sense, which is that Ryan is a very, he really is truly alone, and I don't find myself often alone. I'm surrounded.
C'è una domanda lì in fondo, credo?
Yes, hello. Emmanuel Lebert pour le petit journal Canal+, French TV. Unfortunately, I didn't see the movie. I was in a plane from Paris to... Oh, sorry, yeah. So, exactly. I have two small questions. I know that you really love Italia, and you have a house in Roma, I think. So you're quite citizen. What do you think of Berlusconi issue right now? And my second question is, will you plan to come to France very soon? Thank you.
Don't ask me any Sarkozy questions then. I stay out of Italian politics so I can stay in my house in Como. I think it's probably the smart thing to do. I haven't planned to buy a place in France, but I have friends there that I visit every once in a while and go, and I do enjoy it a lot there. I visit Brad a lot with Matt, and we just boil up and have fun. And yeah, so I have a... I know, yeah. Anyway, I do the France issue. I go there as often as possible. I think it's actually really beautiful.
Thank you.
Una domanda lì, prego.
Hey, how are you? Jason, first of all, I saw you using your iPhone. You're on Twitter. I follow you on Twitter. I know 75,000 people ask you already how was it working with George Clooney, so I won't ask that. But what do you think of Twitter and using that as a mechanism in the world now? And for George, I've been interviewing you many times, but you're not doing TV interviews anymore. Is that because of, and I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm also from the Netherlands, stupid questions like this lately, you know? And the other thing is, you've been working with Anton Corbijn. Maybe you can just tell me a little bit.
Well, first of all, working with Anton Corbijn is a joy. He's just a tremendous talent and a wonderful artist, and I'm having a really good time working with him. I've done less and less interviews because I've found that doing interviews for films in general doesn't end up answering any questions about the films, and it doesn't really help the film. Usually I end up answering some dumbass question from some dumbass from the Netherlands. It ends up becoming stories that'll be repeated. You guys all sort of understand this. I think you are fighting the good fight, most of you, which is you're put in a position where you're forced to ask questions because your magazine subscriptions are getting smaller and the world is getting smaller and harder and harder and harder to find an audience. I understand why all those happen, but I don't necessarily want to participate in it. I am the son of a newsman. I grew up with a newspaper man and an anchor man as a father, and I've seen sort of how it works and what it does. And I don't mind the stories in gossip magazines, but I worry about when they bleed into legitimate news, and that's been happening a lot lately. So those are concerns, and that's probably why I've done less interviews, was just because, not for actually personal questions, just because I don't really see it helping the film. I think it actually hurts the film, because they don't ask questions about the movie, so.
Hi, this is a question.